Right, guys. A subject that we wanted to dive a little bit deeper into today was the importance of rest, especially the post-show period. And when we say rest, obviously there's the physical aspects, but there's also the mental aspects as well. And how do you approach it? How do you find rest? Because for some people it's almost impossible because you're mentally tuned to keep going, keep pushing, keep focusing. Always want a goal, don't you? Bodybuilding is very
goal oriented.
Yeah. So you come off the back of a show. You've just achieved something, or you haven't achieved what you desired to achieve, but you technically need rest. What do you weigh up? Do you weigh up the desire to keep reaching new goals, or because you maybe didn't reach the goal you want to keep pushing, or do you rest? Like, how do you weigh this up?
It's hard because you need to fill the gap, because when you're dieting for a show, there's always that drive for that goal, and then when it's over, there's always a big void. So.
Yeah, you've gone from like having your days structured around meals, training, like every single little acute factor is like really, really emphasized. And then all of a sudden you're like, find yourself in a period where time is yours.
Yeah.
Like you obviously work and stuff, but there's still all these little micro gaps in between which are not filled up by these little tasks. And it becomes quite difficult, doesn't it, when you've just suddenly got freedom.
Yeah, just little things like the posing and the cardio and stuff like that.
Yeah, I find it hard now. Like I miss check-ins.
Yeah.
So I miss going out in the garden in the morning in the freezing cold, in just my pants and slippers and a woolly hat, and sending pictures to Patrick saying, "How am I looking this morning?" and getting that response. Getting that feedback, looking great. And that's kind of the funny thing about it, is like that shows you what is it that you love about bodybuilding. It's not the stage, is it?
It's all the little things, isn't it?
It's the process.
It's the routine.
It's doing it. It's being and it's living it. Like that's the fun part. And then obviously when rest is something that's been either implemented or forced upon you, trying to come to terms with that is a skill in itself.
Yeah.
Like how would you yourself, being someone that's won shows, Louis, like how do you come off the back of a show and rest? Are you someone that finds that you're able to rest if you've done as well as you hoped and it's easier to take rest? Versus say you did a show and it didn't go how you planned? Like when do you find rest the easiest to adapt, adopt?
Probably when I haven't achieved a good result.
Yeah. Because
I mentally I have to give myself some downtime then. Whereas at my level as an amateur now, there's always a goal ahead. Like
yes.
So when I won the nationals, like there's always another goal straight away there.
You're like pro.
So the next thing is to turn pro. Whereas when you don't get the result you want, you don't place at a show, you know you need to go away and do work. So there's no like
time for
proper rush.
So you actually feel like there's more time. So so you're more like accepting. So you're like, listen, I'm not where I need to be, so I need to go away, take the rest because the rest is part of the growth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Whereas other people are sometimes like, oh, I'm crap. Like, I better get back to work.
Yeah, next day they're back on diet and back on cardio.
So it's a perception thing, isn't it? It's like, how do you perceive that position?
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm like that as well. I think I'm more like you. Like, when I do well, I actually want to keep the ball rolling. Yeah. Because you're on your way. Like, until something stops you, then you might as well keep seeing what you can do.
Yeah.
And it's like, I would rather only have breaks when I'm forced to have a break. And that's very much like
when
you're
you know
saying
it's
there.
Needed,
Yes, like when your physique is not as good as it could be, then you're like, it's just black and white. Okay, my physique isn't as good as it needs to be at this level, or this to be accepted as a champion at this point. Therefore, I have to go away and improve it. But rest is part of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I found, in the past when I've not done well, it's actually easier to take the rest because, like you say, it's there's clearly something not quite working out.
Yeah.
And usually that's like down to the whole plan is not right for you.
Yeah.
And that means you need to reorchestrate everything.
It also depends how you look at the show. Like, if I come to a show and I don't place because I was off, then it's a little bit different because then you know you can improve. But if I've gone into a show and I've looked the best I've ever been and I didn't place, then I know that something's not right. Like you said, you need to improve.
So if the only time that's going to happen is when you haven't got enough muscle to hang with the big boys.
Yeah.
Because obviously muscle is not something you can control immediately.
Yeah.
So like peaking, like condition and stuff like that, that's all something you can control. So if you're the hardest guy on stage, lovely balance, but you just haven't got the weight to your physique, what's the most sensible thing to do? That's when you should take the rest, and that's when you should kind of strategize and come back, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, like the importance again from it isn't just because you should physically take time off the gym. It's also because you should physically take time away from some of the things that are required in order to get in such shape. So taking time away from low calorie diets, taking time away from overuse of supplements on all aspects.
Yeah.
Because the training part, yeah, it's important to give your body a break from weights, but there's so many other things going on within the body that could do with a break as well. Even from the diet, like certain food types. You're hammering in the same foods all the time.
Yeah, you need to vary the diet a bit more. And getting, like you was talking about the other day with the micronutrients.
Reintroducing fruits.
Exactly.
Things that are going to give your body some of the things that have been missing in that prep. That's what we like kind of post-show for us. The first thing I kind of noticed is like the reintroduction of fruit varieties.
Yeah.
And the only real reason for that is like I say, it's the micronutrients and it's the antioxidants, the vitamins.
And it's fruits that you wouldn't necessarily eat on a prep as well. Like
exactly.
I've only ever really eaten like maybe
bananas on a prep.
Bananas.
Yeah. Now we're getting like pineapples and
apples
and grapes and strawberries.
Yeah.
So really trying to diversify the amount of nutrients you're getting in. Another thing like I really do suggest as well is something we were doing when it comes to rest is with your protein, like lowering that protein content post show. One thing that we've really focused on now is off the back of the show, protein's like half. Like give your kidneys, give your liver, give your organs a rest from some of those foods.
Even your stomach.
Just in general, yeah.
And
let things pass through. Let the system reboot.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's funny because this conversation is just passing through my head. Like I'm just thinking, it's funny how many layers to rest there is, because it isn't just simply sit on the couch and let everything reset. It's like, what do you do in order to maximize that rest time? And all these things they coincide, go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You need to do the PCT, you need to reduce your protein, you need to train less frequently, you need to reduce intensity, you need to drink plenty of fluid, and you need to stay active on a cardiovascular front. Be more aware of your movement, keep your body moving around, and just keep it healthy. And all these things put together really create the perfect environment then to bounce off of going back into non-rest. So you're just literally trying to set yourself up for when you're not resting again, aren't you?
Yeah. Whether that be another prep or an off season.
Yes.
Both ways.
Yeah, either way. Yeah. It doesn't matter which, does it? Because they're both going to require everything that you have.
Yeah.
Obviously, the back of the end of this is going to be an off season.
Yeah.
But then even then, you're formulating a diet that's going to be the basis of the start. So anything you're eating now is going to gradually become what is going to be the off season via tapering.
Yeah.
So it's like pre-prep, and that pre-prep is fundamental in order for you to become the best you're going to be in the long run. Body composition and stuff like that during rest, it will go a step back. You can't expect to be in show shape all the time. Yeah. It's not something that you should expect of yourself, and it's fair to feel that way. You shouldn't worry. It's going to be a one step back process, but then there's going to be a 2 steps forward process coming off the back of that. So again, like something I would encourage and urge people to understand is that with bodybuilding, it's not linear. It doesn't just go forward all the time. It has to go in certain directions at times in order to be the best you're going to be. And with that, the only time you have to look exceptional is when you're on that stage. Everything in between doesn't matter. Obviously, you want to keep a track of whether you're moving forward or backwards or sideways or whatever. But realistically, as long as you are following a good plan, then every time a show comes around and you've taken that rest and you've optimized such times, you're going to be better than you was before. Is there anything else you want to add to rest?
Like maybe a bit more on the mental side of things, like also like spending time with like family and loved ones and friends and just doing things that you wouldn't do when you're on a prep, like activities like going out for food and going out for walks and going out to the cinema and doing regular things that you don't do usually when you're kind of on prep.
It's almost the time to pay people back.
Yeah.
Loved ones and friends, especially like the first thing I wanted to do off the back of the show was spend time with my friends as friends.
Yeah.
And obviously Louis and that have been around during the prep, but they've been there as associates for bodybuilding, training partner, kicking my ass, but not being ourselves as such.
Yeah.
Not looking forward to going out and having a cup of tea.
Just stupid little things like that, isn't it? It is resting you mentally without kind of realising it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just being relaxed and just like watching a film.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't do that on prep because you're looking at the clock for the next meal and you're
Can't
cooking the
concentrate,
next
can you?
meal.
Yeah.
And just taking time out for the mental side of things as well is definitely gonna, for me anyway, like help me to just go back to 100%.
Yeah, it reinforces. It almost makes you hungry to get back into things.
Yeah.
Like the more you can make yourself look forward to being back into the motions, the better. Because then when you do rein it in and lock it in, it's going to be a lot easier to do. So again, we encourage you guys to take those moments in between shows to do such things, because there'll come a time where you can't do them again.
Yeah.
And you'll be mad at yourself if you didn't fit them in. So yeah, definitely. And then mentally as well, how would you say you stay strong during times and don't go against what your head says? Because, you know, like let's say you are one of them people like yourself who knows that rest is important, but you got people in your ear saying, no, you need to improve, get to the gym, keep working hard, but you know that you're just going through a period of like PCT, training shouldn't be as intense. How do you kind of defer what they're saying and remain constant on your own path? Are you able to just know that your way's the way?
I mean, for me personally, yeah. Like I do what I want and what's best for me, because you have to be kind of quite selfish in respect to that. But I understand a lot of people who have like a lot of coaches in their ear and stuff that are telling them
you can't come off
you can't do this, you can't do that. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because it's that relationship between you and the coach, and then it's like the relationship you have with yourself, isn't it? It's like,
because you have one with yourself where you know sometimes you're what's best.
Yeah.
Certain, and then they have an expectancy.
And you don't want to not follow what they say.
Yeah.
Even though you know mentally for you it may.
We see a lot of people. We actually talked to a lot of people. We had a conversation the other day about this with particular people and their coaches, like friends of ours that are struggling at the minute, because obviously when they're due a rest, they can't actually get their rest that they feel they require because the coaches are very firm.
Yeah.
You've got to be transparent with the coach, haven't you?
Yeah.
Because there's no way. Listen, even if they are a really firm coach, if you're honest with them and they genuinely care about your progress, they are still going to place the most importance on your mental health and welfare. So even if it's not their normal methods, I still think you're better to say, coach, this is the situation, I need a break, or I need this.
Yeah.
Because at least then there's that honesty, and they can formulate some sort of plan to help adhere to, help put a plan together that you might be able to adhere to more than not saying.
Yeah.
So some guys, if you find it hard to be honest in when rest is required and you just feel like you can't quite get that through to your coach, all I can say is just be honest, guys, because ultimately you got to put yourself first. Like Louis said, with bodybuilding, it really is about being mostly in tune with who you are, and everything else is secondary. A coach is really important, don't get me wrong, but your own feelings will still come on top, as long as you're not like just being a bitch.
Yeah, of course.
Because that happens. Obviously, some people are just like, I need a meal off. Really, you don't. Just be true to yourself and just be transparent. But yeah, guys, rest. Don't underestimate it. I think that a lot of people don't take enough. I think a lot of people stay in the gym and do deload weeks when really a week off would have been better for you. Just because you're still in the gym environment, and sometimes you need a break even from that. So just be aware. Just take these things into account. And I would love to know more of your thoughts on that. I think it'd be good if some comments below the video in regards to rest, maybe even more specific things you want to know, that we can kind of drop some comments back to you and give you a little bit more insight on such particulars. I'll be happy to do that, because I understand we've spoken about rest in this video, but there's so many more factors involved, which we'll be happy to go into more depth with. So yeah, I think we'll leave it there on rest. There's nothing more to my head that I feel like needs to be explained right now. So it's more about you just knowing yourself.